Research Committee Coordinator Dr. Joe Prasad Matthew, IQSC Coordinator Joyce Manuel, and other faculty members from the college and outside the college. Welcome you all to this uh, meeting, that is the research international webinar on best practices in research conducted from 12th October to 20th October. It is a privilege for me to welcome all the participants to this webinar. Today, we have the fourth talk in the series, and is given by Dr. George Verghese, and the topic is on enhancing the research productivity. It is a great opportunity for me to introduce today's speaker, that is Dr. George Verghese, who was my teacher during the UG and PG. I just want to introduce Dr. George Verghese. He is the former director and member secretary of the Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, and was the former professor and head of the Department of Physics, University of Calicut, director of research, University of Calicut. And he is now working as the emeritus scientist and director of research, Marivanius College, Thiruvananthapuram. And he has, to his credit, Indo-Hungarian Education Exchange Fellowship, UFC and DST Research Fellowship, Indian Academy of Science Research Fellowship, INSA Visit Fellowship, KSST Emeritus Scientist Fellowship, to his credit. And he has authored 17 books in Malayalam, that is basically which can interact with the common people, published by the DC Books, Kerala Bhasha Institute, Madhurabhumi, etc. Won 3 awards for the books, N.V. Krishna Warrior Award by the Kerala Institute of Languages, Abu Dhabi Shakti Award, C.P. Menon Endowment Award instituted by M. Leelavati. And he has wrote almost 100 research articles in international as well as national journals. And he was inspirational in starting the research center at SB College Physics, and has supervised almost 10 PhD students. I welcome you, sir, for today's class. Okay, sir, please start the talk. We can those who have questions can put the questions in the chat box, and sir will answer the questions after the section. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jose. Dr. Joe Prasad, respected principal of St. Bergman's College, Dr. Jacob Matthew, vice principal, other staff members, and all students who are here present on the webinar platform. It's a great pleasure for me to join any program associated with St. Bergman's College. Though in the virtual platform, I'm very happy indeed to associate with you all. Most of the young students or researchers are not familiar to me, and I'm also not familiar to you all. Of course, I left St. Bergman's College quite long back, almost 12 years ago, while I got an appointment at the University of Calicut, and I joined there as a professor there in physics. Later on, as Jijo mentioned, I moved to the State Council for Science and Technology, that institution years back. Now I am associating with the Marivanius College, Trivandrum. Of course, I am living in Trivandrum, so it's quite close to me. And it's always a great pleasure for me to visit the education institutions. Now, due to the COVID pandemic, we can't move, of course. But this pandemic has opened a new platform for all of us, the webinar platform or online platform, so that anybody from anywhere in the world can join and share their ideas and views to all. So this is a great opportunity indeed. So let us take the advantage of this platform. Nowadays, I see that St. Bergman's College is very much engaged in bringing people from abroad to this webinar platform. I heard that one of the Nobel laureates is also coming to St. Bergman's College to give a lecture. So that is a good thing. So otherwise it would have been very extremely difficult to call such great people to our institutions. So this webinar or online platform has opened up a great freedom for all of us. So make use of this modern technology. Take the full advantage of this modern technology so that new informations you will get, as well as you can invite great scholars to your campus. So I hope that everything, the system will change within a few years, so that worldwide interaction will be possible. So every nook and corner of Kerala, of course, or from India, we can associate with people from great institutions such as MIT, Cambridge, Oxford, and the like. So please bring people from them. Joe Prasad asked me to give you a talk on research enhancement, or how to enhance or improve research productivity in the campuses. So I have prepared a slide for you. So when I open my slide, of course, I can't see you anymore. So only you can hear my voice. So please forgive me and bear with me, so that this is the only possibility. Right now, I don't know the very much intricacies of this system. So I'm not that much familiar. So perhaps maybe a chance to simultaneously view the audiences as well as to show the slides are possible. But right now, it is very difficult. So anyway, let me open my slide and let me discuss you some ideas related to the topic. So let me switch on to that. Please wait for me some time. You know that the research, when I was a teacher there in St. Bergman's College, the research activities of our college was very little. Very few people are engaged in research in the campus. Of course, some of the faculty members were doing research at other institutions or in universities and the like. But research in the campus or research in the departments of the college was very little. So at that time, it was quite difficult to perform any meaningful research in the campus while teaching. I understand that system has changed. A lot of facilities are available in the campus. Many of our departments are full-fledged research centers, having almost all modern technologies to conduct advanced research. So thanks to the University Grants Commission and as well as the Department of Science and Technology for providing us all these funds and assistance. But this is not the great thing. Of course, it is a good thing. So please target or dream for great things to happen in the campus or in these universities. Associate with well-established institutions outside the country, and you can also share their information and share their expertise as well as their infrastructure for conducting the research. So that will happen soon, I wish and I hope. And that system is not still something wrong with this thing. So let me repeat again. Because of the poor connectivity problem and the high traffic in the internet route, the information going from one end to the other will be delayed or may face the traffic jam. Of course, the digital traffic jam. So that will soon change when the optical fiber communication system will improve in the country. So right now, this is the only option. So I'm waiting for my screen to share. That is still not coming. So can you see me? Can you see my picture? Anyway, research, in fact, is a great thing that a teacher should do. So a good teacher is always a researcher. This is the statement made by Sir C.V. Raman, not by me. So always a good teacher is a good researcher also. So if you are not doing a research, doing any kind of research, that means you are not that much good in teaching. Let me say, I'm very sorry to say like this, because I know that some of the faculty members are not conducting any research. But later on, I'm sure that they will also do the same. Research will give you a very wide opening to know the new things, as well as to share the new things with others. This is an area in which you can take the full advantage, as well as the benefit of education or benefit of teaching learning system will be totally used. Where I was discussing with one of the great scholars in physics, Professor E.C.G. Sudarshan, some years back. I think it was in 2005. 2005 was the World Year of Physics. You know that I am a physics teacher. The United Nations declared it 2005 as the World Year of Physics. So at that time, I happened to be a coordinator for the Kerala region. And we have arranged a lot of programs. And Professor Sudarshan was asked to inaugurate that program. So Sudarshan came, and I got an opportunity to travel with Professor Sudarshan from Kottayam to Ernakulam. So while traveling, I asked Sudarshan about a Nobel laureate. I knew that that fellow was with Sudarshan at Texas University in Austin. I asked him about his whereabouts. He was none other than the Nobel laureate Professor Hans Bethe. Hans Bethe. I asked him what Professor Bethe was doing at that time. He smiled at me and told me that Professor Bethe is now 99 years old. He used to visit the department every day and spend some time with his research scholars there. See, at the age of 99, even at that very old age, he was doing research and enjoying the benefits of the research. See, that was research indeed. Now, if you enter into any service career, of course, your teachers will all retire after the age of 60 or 65 or something like that. So, but for a researcher, there is in fact no retirement. A researcher, for him, there is indeed no boss at all. He himself is the boss of his laboratory. Professor C.V. Raman, you know that. We all remember Sir Raman with great reverence, because Raman was a great researcher and a great scholar. Raman studied in Presidency College, Madras. Raman, when he was a student there for post-graduation, Raman published two important research articles in reputed journals at that time. While he was a student, remember that. Perhaps he was not perhaps, it is correct, he was the first person in that Presidency College to publish a research article. None of the faculty members at that time published any research articles. His passion for doing research was very high. Raman always wanted to be a researcher. but his father or his parents persuaded him to write the civil services examination. So Raman wrote that civil services examination, and Raman got first rank in the financial civil services examination. At that time, there were two civil services examinations. One was FCS and the other was ICS. He wrote the financial civil services examination, and he stood first in that examination also. So after completing that examination in Clays, Raman was appointed as Assistant Accountant General at the Accountant General's office in Calcutta. So Raman went there, and he was a senior or Assistant Accountant General, was a high post at that time. He was getting a salary of around 1100 British rupees, a fabulous sum at that time, indeed. And he was very passionate for doing research. At that time, the Indian Association for Cultivation of Science, a simple organization, in a very, very nuclear organization, not even funded by any agencies at that time. It was a simple organization formed by Dr. Mahalanobis and some of such interested people. They started a small club like that was known as Indian Association for Cultivation of Science. Perhaps that is the first organization in India for doing research that is still there in Calcutta. It is now a central government institution, and they wanted somebody to do research in that laboratory. So they put an advertisement. I mean, Raman saw that advertisement and he applied for that post, a voluntary researcher, not a full-time researcher. So he started doing research at the premise. That was a rented building. That in the rented building, Raman started research while he was an employee at the the Accountant General office. So Raman used to go to the research laboratory early in the morning, do some research, and at 10 o'clock or 9:30 or so, he will come back, rush back to his house and take his breakfast, and then he go to his office for the office purposes. So immediately after office at 5 o'clock, Raman again used to go to the association building to do some research. At that time, there was only no instruments, no perfect laboratory and the like. There was only its chair and a table. That was the first Indian laboratory to do research. And Raman started writing research projects. He managed to get some funds, and he shared some of his salaries to do research. And anyway, he published many papers out of that research. These papers appeared repeatedly in major journals like Nature and Philosophical Transactions, etc., published from Europe. So people from Europe started reading this, and they thought, who is this fellow? A gentleman from India is doing unimportant things, but fantastic results he was getting at the time. And that was the passion for research. At that time, there were no departments for physics or chemistry or mathematics in the University of Calcutta. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Calcutta was a great scholar indeed at that time. He started. Shall I continue? So I was talking about Sir C.V. Raman and how he conducted. He was so passionate for doing research, and he tried to do research while at the Indian Association for Cultivation of Science in Calcutta, when he was appointed as Assistant Accountant General in the Calcutta office. So Sir Raman was very much passionate, so that he left his very lucrative job just for doing research in a university. Sir Raman was appointed as a professor of physics in the newly started department of Calcutta University.
That professor post was known at that time as Palit professorship because someone contributed some amount to honor Professor Dr. Palit. So he was the Palit professor at the University of Calcutta. That time, a professor was getting only a very small amount as salary when compared to the assistant accountant general. Assistant accountant general, he was receiving a salary of 1100 rupees. But as a professor of physics, he got only 600 rupees, 500 rupees less. That was a huge loss at that time indeed. Even though he was very much satisfied as a teacher, as a researcher in the University of Calcutta. So he started doing research there, and you know the rest of the history. Raman became very popular, and he found a very important phenomenon associated with light scattering, which we now call as Raman effect, and he got a Nobel Prize. Even today we remember the name of Sir C.V. Raman. But we know there were many great scholars who opted differently and ended up in a government service as their career in life and finally retired from that life. Nobody knows. Nobody recognizes them. So those who become popular as well as known for centuries, for years, are people who contribute to knowledge. So we have only one lifetime. That too is very much small indeed. Some 70 years or 80 years maximum. So during this lifetime, take up this as a challenge to create some knowledge and to contribute to the knowledge system available. So those who produce knowledge will be known forever. We know, we remember still, even today we remember Socrates, Aristotle, Kalidasa, Shakespeare, and all the scientists, Isaac Newton, Archimedes, and the like. Who are they? They were contributors to knowledge. They were not warriors. They were not kings, but they were contributors to knowledge. So those who contribute to knowledge will be known forever, known for eternity, let me say. So doing research is a great thing. Doing research means finding new things, adding new things to the already available knowledge system. So today we know that we live in a knowledge-based economy. Those who have knowledge capacity will control the world. Those who have information will dominate the world. Not those who have money or oil power or muscle power will dominate the world. But those who contribute to knowledge will dominate the world. That is the system. You remember me, or you just search by reading the history. So doing research is always a great passion for all of us. Those who do research, do teaching as well as work in the educational field, research is an inevitable thing. So let us now think of how we can promote effective research, how can we improve or enhance the system. So while doing research, you have to observe so many things. Research is, according to the Oxford Dictionary, it is a systematic investigation of information and study of materials and resources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. That is the definition for research governed by the Oxford Dictionary. It is a recherche, is a French word, recherche, which means forceful search or extensive search. Search until you find something. What we are going to search, we are searching new knowledge, new information, new techniques, new methods. That is the research. So that is not available already. So there are different classifications for the research. Different classifications. One of the classifications is hypothesis testing is research, for which we need an hypothesis, or we need an assumption, or an idiom, or something like that, or a statement, and we search whether that is correct or not. So, doing research, we need a hypothesis, and we test the hypothesis. So, that is one classification for research. Seeking that is of course true for many of the subjects, but for science and natural subjects, seeking a new thing, there we do not find any hypothesis at all. Seeking a new information out of the natural system is a research thing. So that is why the scientists or some people working in science area are looking for. They are searching for new knowledge or new information out of the natural things. Then there is another thing that is called applied research. We first do something. Say, for example, right now, when the Palarivotam bridge is broken out, so people were discussing or debating on whether that bridge is strong or can we remold it and make it strong or whatever. So for that we need to test its strength, its load-bearing capacity. So we need to do some research, some investigation on that. So that is an applied investigation. First we have a problem and we want to seek where that problem is, what is the solution for that problem. If it is a new thing, that is of course a new information. Then another one is commissioned research, that is inquiring something, investigating something. So all these are type of research, and if you find something new, then of course that will go to your credit. So investigating and seeking a new information and getting the credit out of that is the individual's thing to do. So there are also different negative effects to research. Now, if you do conduct some research, sometimes it will unexpectedly imply negativity. So sometimes it will harm others. Sometimes it will spoil the resources. Sometimes it will somebody will abuse your research. So these are all negative aspects of research. So be careful in considering all these aspects before doing research. So what we do exactly to improve research? We need, of course, a motivation. That is very important. A motivation. Without motivation, please never conduct any research. So before going to a research arena, think yourself whether I have the real passion, I have the real intention, I have the real inspiration to do research. That is very important. Research needs motivation. Research requires concentrated effort, continuous effort. Don't be lazy while you start doing research. Most of the people start research with vehement enthusiasm first, and later on they will drop everything. So that is not correct. So research requires continuous effort or concentrated effort. It needs an intellectual background also, an intellectual environment also. So that is the advantage of universities and colleges, where you are having an environment which is quite good for conducting research, that you will not get anywhere. See that even people can work in areas where no such facilities or no such good environment is available. Say, for example, the case of Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein did all the researches related to the special theory of relativity. That was his the first opening. Special theory of relativity, as well as in some other areas also. He conducted research and got very important results. In 1905, he was appointed as a patent office clerk. He was doing simply clerical work at that office. Of course, it was related to some research findings, but he was performing only clerical duties. That was his assignment. That was not a university institution. There were no mentors for him. There were no professors in that organization to promote or to support Albert Einstein. He did his research as his own, like C.V. Raman did at Indian Association for Cultivation of Science at Calcutta. So such environment was lacking at that moment of time for them. But even then they conducted good research and got very attractive, very important results. So research needs a proper environment. So your atmosphere is good. College atmosphere is good because there are postgraduate students, research scholars nearby. Your professors are all learned people, and your laboratory is good, your library is good, and your environment is amicable for doing research. So that is a very important thing. Then research requires, in fact, a support. That means financial support, assistance. So if you do some research, some money is involved in that. You need new equipment. Sometimes you need more facilities. Sometimes you need chemicals. Sometimes you need books or other materials for doing research. Sometimes you have to travel a lot for collecting data and other things. So it requires financial support. So there are many organizations, large number of organizations available in and around you. Of course, you have to find it out, who are ready to support meaningful research or result-oriented research. So, of course, that we can tackle easily. So, before you go starting a research, you set your goals first. Set your goals thus means you should aim high. That's the most important thing. Sometimes people say that, no, I need to do research only for the sake of getting a PhD. That is not good. PhD, if you stop research after getting your PhD degree from a university, of course, you are wasting your time. You are, in fact, wasting the energy as well as the money of the exchequer. People around you who are supporting you. Sometimes your state government, sometimes your institutions might have spent a lot of money for supporting your research. So you are stopping with stopping with a PhD, that will in fact will not do any good for the community. So set your goals. I will always say that set your goals high, at high peak. That means after my PhD, I will conduct research. I will go for other things and I will do some postdoctoral fellowship and I will go there and the like. So set the goals as highest or fix your goals. Then some kind of institutional level arrangements is also good for doing or promoting research. Sometimes if you are a faculty member, you need to take leave out of your teaching assignment. So for that, you need the support of the institutional authorities. So sometimes you want to go elsewhere and present your research findings. So that also need the support of the institutional authorities as well as the state government or the universities and the like. So at the institutional level also, we need to set something good for something effective for conducting our research. Then at individual level, again, you have to make a lot of arrangements. If you have a family, so if you have if you have some other burdens or some other difficulties associated with your personal life, you have to set apart all such things. Take leave from all such other things for at least for the time when you are doing research. Then there are many such issues associated with the things. And then in what all areas we can do research, that is important thing. What all areas? Suppose if you are an expert in a subject, you are very passionate in that subject, I would say that you should do research in that area itself. But if you have an open mind around and see that there are a lot of things around you, lot of new things are there. Of course, if you are interested, you can do research in that area also. See, research, I have recently read an article published by University Grants Commission in 2018. That was a report of a committee appointed by the University Grants Commission. The task of the committee was to seek how to improve the quality of research in universities. And they framed a report, and that is available over the net, and you can read it. And they, in fact, recommended interdisciplinary research. Interdisciplinary research means you can do research in any disciplines if you are interested. A science teacher can do research in humanities. Of course, there is a cross-disciplinary interest in both the subjects. We can do research in literature and the like. But of course, that remember that if it is beneficial for your career improvement, stick on to your subject. But if it is good for your general improvement of knowledge, do conduct interdisciplinary research. Of course, you can conduct interdisciplinary research in science subjects or in humanities subjects. Economics people can do research in commerce. Literature people, English literature students can do research in Malayalam. Related areas are there, humanities are there. And in mathematics also, physics people can do research in mathematics, mathematicians can do research in chemistry as well as other things. Recently emerged area is biological mathematics, very important area, biological mathematics. Many mathematicians are doing research in biology, as well as biologists are doing research in applied mathematics. So interlinked, the platforms or the boundaries are merging out. So you can do research in any areas. There is in fact no limit for searching or investigation. See, I have few experiences while I was a teacher in Sir Markman Scholar. I have 3 publications, not from my own area in physics. The first one I was a seminar publication which I presented in Rome in 2000. There it was a philosophical topic. The title of my research topic at that time was the breakdown of a theory and our efforts to describe nature. Of course, that is a philosophical paper. Another one was purely related to educational research. Declining trend in science education that I wrote in science education and research in Indian universities. That is available as an open document in the website of UNESCO, because I presented that paper in one of the major conferences organized by UNESCO in Paris in 2008. Later on, I published another article related to education that was on science education and research in Indian universities in the new millennium. Of course, research proceedings was available in the platform of East Asian Institute of National University of Singapore. I presented that paper in Singapore. See that I started, so I did research in other fields. That was my own example. So let me say 10 points to improve your research skills in a nutshell. 10 points. First one, we should have an inquisitive mind. Inquisitive mind, because the research is forceful search. You should not end until you find the result, conclusive result, convincing results. So we need to cultivate an inquisitive mind. Then second one is pose a question or an issue in mind related to a field which you find as good for doing research. So if you think that there is a problem associated with that, or there is an issue to be sorted out, then you keep that issue in your mind and start asking questions to yourself. Is it a real question to be investigated? So keep on posing a question in your mind. Then the third one is think twice or thrice or many times before you arrive at a statement or a hypothesis for doing a research. So first one is a mind, Second one is, in your mind, raise a question yourself whether that is a problem or not. And the third one is repeatedly think that statement, that problem is worth for doing research. Then outline your problem carefully. That is the next step. Outline the problem. How can I tackle that problem? So there is a problem. You are convinced with that problem. And then once you are convinced with that problem, think, how can I tackle that problem? In what way? For that, you need the help of a mentor, the help of a teacher or a supervisor. You go to the supervisor and ask him or tell him that, Professor, I have a problem in my mind that is, haunting me for long. I think that this is a real research problem. What is your opinion? If I do research, is it worthwhile? Then, of course, out of his knowledge, he will examine that problem, and then he will say that, of course, you go ahead. Otherwise, he will say that, no, that is not a good problem for doing research. That is not, perhaps, otherwise, sometimes he will say that that is not a problem where you can do research in this laboratory or in this premise. Sometimes you want to go somewhere else to do research in that problem. So that is the advice. So seek the advice. See, nowadays what our students do is they straight away go to the research scholar or the supervisor, and the supervisor will give a problem which is haunting in his mind. So there are different ways, different approaches. The first approach is from the part of the scholar. Scholar himself finds a problem, and he take the advice of the supervisor. The other one is the supervisor will impose a problem to the scholar. Sometimes both have good, positive as well as negative aspects. Then set up a schedule for conducting the research. How long I need to, how much time I require to conduct this research. Now, if this is the time, if it is 3 years time or 4 years time, 5 years time, during the first year what I will do, second year what I will do, third year what I will do, and the like. So set up a timeline for conducting a research. That is very important in managing the research. Then seek the advice of experts related to that field. Do not hesitate to ask questions to others also. Sometimes experts were available outside the country. Now it is quite easy. You just send an email to them or communicate with them or phone or any media which you like, and share your information, share your ideas and your enthusiasm and the like. So of course they will do that. Then attribute ideas carefully. That is the seventh step. Attribute. That means now onwards, you are also contributing something to the new knowledge system. So earlier, you started research, you started collecting information and the like. So you are reading information. Now you are at a stage that you are starting research, real research. You are in the problem, in the midst of the problem. When you are investigating, you will get good results. So that is attributing ideas carefully. Then for that, you should always use the latest technologies. Use the latest information available. I remember an incident in which one of my friends told me that when he was compiling his final thesis for submission in Chicago, he was doing research in Chicago University, US. And his professor asked that, okay, this is sufficient for presenting the report to the university committee for the award of the degree. He was writing the thesis. When he was almost completed, at that time, his professor asked and told him that now today I saw a new book related to your field in the library. Please go and read that book before you complete writing the thesis. So that means they are to date with the knowledge available. So when you are submitting your thesis, should be confident that you have updated all the information related to that field. The latest information is available in your thesis. No further information is available on that topic while you are submitting the thesis. And also use all the new techniques. Sometimes you need a new instrument. These days, scientific instruments are very common. Sophisticated instruments are available every nook and corner of the country nowadays. So, if you need to analyze your sample with a new instruments, go there and take the advantage of the new instrument and investigate and combine that knowledge before completing your research. So, use the advantage of all the latest technologies. Finally, you compile the results. Before compiling the results, it is good that you should publish the result. About publication, I will tell you something later, so that is why I am reserving that point to the last. So that the 10th point is publish the outcome of the research. So these are the 10 tips for improving your research skills. Of course, UTC has set up certain guidelines for improving the quality of research. That is very important. That is, the first one is significant questions which can be investigated alone may be taken for as a research problem. Research problem must be very significant. If it is not significant, why you are wasting your time? So prioritizing the investigation is always important for the development or the progress of the country. So in universities, what actually people do is that people conduct research from different areas without seeking its significance. That is in fact a basic form of research. But for a country like India, we need to prioritize research. So what are the priorities? What are the needs of the society? That is very important. So take the necessity or need of the society or the requirements of the society before you are investigating a problem. Then UGC says that we need an independent, balanced, and objective approach for doing research. We need an independent. That means that we should not that investigation may be conducted by a research scholar is an independent research. It has not been published elsewhere. It has not been a contribution of many people. It is the entire contribution of that research scholar. That is very important for getting a PhD degree. That's in order. Then the use of appropriate methodology, the techniques involved, that is all very important. What appropriate methodology you are using? When we are, writing the evaluation report, we used to say that this scholar, such and such scholar has conducted the research using the latest technology, the methodology is correct, research methodology is perfect, and therefore I recommend that this thesis may be awarded a degree by the university. So methodology is very important. Then conceptualization of the research problem and reliable measurements of variables. Of course, that is very important. Reliable means must be reliable. So otherwise, your research will not be of any use. Always publish reliable results. Then engage with internal as well as international intellectual networks. Collaboration is very important. Cooperation is very important with the international as well as internal experts for improving the research. Then I mentioned about publication. Remember that publication is very important for research. Sometimes you may wonder, or you might have read the incident of C.V. Raman. When Raman got a result in 1928, actually on 28th February, Raman stood and observed the spurious phenomenon of scattering, that is Raman effect. At that time, he was aware that someone else, it was Mandelstam. Mandelstam in Russia was conducting the same research in different technique, using different techniques. And once Raman got the result of spurious light scattering, he immediately invited press people and presented that finding before them. That was his first publication. Second one was he wrote an article related to that and published in a very small or a minor at that time journal published from Bangalore. That was the publication related to Raman effect, first publication result related to Raman effect. But Mandelstam, that poor guy, got the same result at the same time, but he published only in May 1928. So Raman got the credit of first publication. Even though Mandelstam and Raman discovered the phenomenon simultaneously, almost simultaneously, Raman got the credit and he got the Nobel Prize first. So publication is very important. If you are not publishing, then it is of no use. So remember that other people are also working in related areas. Sometimes they are getting a good result, they will publish and take the advantage of that. So remember that before or when you are doing research. Then always remember the hidden treasures. If you have huge amount of gold, but you are keeping it in underground, what is the use of that? So hidden treasures have no value until it is exposed. Until it is exposed. You may have great treasure. You have found great treasure after conducting the research. But if you are not publishing anything, then what is the use of it? Then remember that no use if unpublished. No use if unpublished. Remember these slogans. No recognition if late. Nobody will recognize you if you are late. The first commits will always get the advantage. Then it is non-productive if it is unnoticed. Unnoticed. The research should be not productive. That is, that today we measure the parameter of research output by way of citation. Citation means your result is used by someone else. So if someone else is using your result, that means that shows that your result is good. So if you are not exposing your results, what is the advantage of that? So no recognition if late and non-productive if unnoticed. Then another point is that no credit if properly authored. So if you have a good result and you are the sole researcher in that finding, then suppose you are so generous that you are inviting your friends and all your peer groups to share their name along with that publication, then they will take the credit of that paper, maybe partial credit of that paper. You will also get a partial credit. So that is very important. No credit if not properly authored. Then no value if not properly marketed. That is also very important. No value if it is not properly marketed. Properly marketing means you should publish in good journals. Journals having large number of readers in their list. So readability is a very important thing. So a publication which appear in Nature, of course, is worth because Nature has lot of readers. So the citation impact is very high for that journal. So always publish in good journals having a large number of citation index. So keep all these things in mind when you are publishing a research. Then I mentioned about one thing that is the research assistance which you require for conducting a research. So research assistant is very important. You cannot use your pocket always while conducting a research. So that means you need assistance. Now, we are in fact fortunate these days that there are a lot of groups, lot of agencies are available in and around you who can support research. Research, of course, after your post-graduation, a scholar is joining as a research scholar. He needs some money for his livelihood. So research fellowship is important. So from where you get funds for offering a research fellowship, then the faculty member or the expert will seek the help of others. Of course, this culture has not been present in our education systems. Of course, in colleges, I know that we have so many donations, so many endowments, just for conducting quiz competition, just for conducting dance or something like that. Not any endowment available for giving research fellowships. That is an unfortunate thing. So I request my fellow teachers that you should seek the help of well-wishers who can contribute a good sum of money for offering research fellowships. Then you announce the research fellowships available with you in your website or in your profile website. And the people will search your profile website and say that, oh, okay, this teacher has got a fellowship. Let me apply for that fellowship and I can conduct. So that is a very important thing to attract good or scholars, eminent scholars or intellectuals to your institution so that they can also do research along with you. So that is very important. So faculty or scholar must submit a proposal to outside agencies for getting funds for offering fellowships as well as for your research instruments and other materials or travels grant and the like. So you should be careful in writing a project. Let me see that agencies, of course, outside your campus, they don't know what you are doing. They don't know much about you. But through your research proposal, they have to assess your work, your capability, and also the intention of your research. So your research project proposal must contain all these things to convince others that you are going to perform a meaningful research. And the outcome is very important. Sometimes that outcome is useful for the community or for some industry. So you should be very much careful in writing a research proposal. So that research, your aim is to get some money, to trap some money from the agency. So in order to trap some money, that means you have to be very crucial, very cunning in getting the funds from the research agency. And so all these things you should know: the social responsibility related to the result, the objectivity of the research, the goals must be very much identified. What are your goals? What are the outcomes? Expected outcomes? All these things I am not going into the details because faculty members or scholars are knowing all these things. The social responsibility and the openness, then the careful parameters you are selecting, and how you publish results, what are the outcomes, expected outcome, etc., before finding sources for research assistance. There are government agencies, of course, UGC is our main source. Not only UGC, all the ministries, you just search the websites of the ministries. I'm not sure what they are doing right now because a few years back I know everything. Each ministry has a fund for research promotion, each ministry of central government. So we just approach the ministry, whether the area which they are interested is parallel to your research area, then of course you will get a support from them. So government agencies are there, corporates are there. Then established, we are in fact now very much enthusiastic about getting the funds from corporate agencies. See that corporates can offer research assistance. That in that way, they can reduce their tax burden to this government. So in order to reduce the tax burden, corporates will offer research funds. So if you are very clever indeed, and if you are clever indeed to show that you are capable of conducting that much research related to their research area, they will definitely support. Then individuals are there. So they will donate money to commemorate their relatives or their parents and the like. So individuals are also there to offer endowments or supports. So canvass them for you just build a rapport between them and try to get some money. International organization. There are a lot of international organizations. Lot of international. In the European Union, of course, is very, very good international organization. Of course, for that you need to associate with some other scholar from Europe also. So international collaboration is very important in getting the international support for doing research. Then well-wishers are there. You get the donation from them. So these are all the centers from where you can find research support. Research productivity, I mentioned about that. To improve the research productivity, we need to improve at the institutional level, at individual level, as well as from the state level or university level. The third one is beyond our control. The first two things we can control. So to improve or to enhance research productivity, we have to be very careful how to improve the research environment of the institution first. Then at individual level, we need motivation, we need skills, we need hard work, we need student involvement, we need financial support and the other things. So all these things have to take into account before conducting any research. Then how to promote your research is, we are of course talking about that, how to promote research. For that, you have to advertise your research capabilities first. Advertise in the sense that people should know that what you are doing. Are you capable of doing this research? So how can you do that? You can do it through your websites. Dynamic websites. You create a dynamic website of your institution. I used to watch the websites of almost all colleges in Kerala because I am interested. So I am not that much satisfied, let me say frankly. Your websites are not that dynamic. Your website, some of our websites, of course, say some long history about the institution, who found it, and what are the objectives, what are the aims and goals of the institution, and the like. We are actually not promoting the education. Our product is education. We are, in fact, our website is not promoting education. If a scholar outside is searching your website, remember that what he is looking for, whether your institution is offering a course which is worth for me, that is his that is his intention. Now, if you are searching your website, that you just imagine or just take a rehearsal whether our website is good for promoting our own products. Our own products means our own courses, our own system, and other like facilities and like. So our website is very important. So the scholars from outside should come to your institution. See that if you want to do some good research, two things you should do. One is a good faculty member. I must become a good faculty member or a good researcher. Second thing, I need a good research scholar. A good faculty member or a supervisor combined with a good research scholar will alone produce good research. So these two things should be associated. A faculty as well as the research scholar. Then the other things are secondary things. Then we need to invite good research, intellectual research scholars to your campus. Intellectual research scholars will seek whether if I go there, is it worth for me to associate with that particular faculty member so that I will, if that degree which I am getting from that institution is good for my career. So you should convince the faculty member, the scholar who are seeking an admission in your campus. That is very important. So how can you do that? You just promote all these things through your website. So improve the quality of the websites so that the facilities available, the information about the faculties. See how much information about your faculties are available on your website. I'm not sure about that. See, faculty should announce the publications, the result in what area they are doing research. For that, I just want you to refer to good research, good university websites. Say, in and around Cambridge, there are a lot of good colleges available. The Jesus College, the Caius College, where Stephen Hawking was a professor, the Christ College, etc. Just for copying or just for getting information how they are managing their websites, and compare it with our own websites. And if it is not, if you feel that it is not good, just try to change your websites in such a way that the facilities available in your campus is properly advertised, so that scholars, meritorious students will come to your institution after reading your website. Research productivity. Finally, we can measure the research productivity. That is a very important thing. The institution head or institution administration should measure the research productivity. Last year, this was the number of total publications. And that last year, this was the cumulative impact factor of the department. Last year, it was the citation index of the institution. And compare it with this year's, so that you just see that whether your university or your institution is progressing. If it is not progressing, there is some problem associated with that. So try to sort out that problem, sort out that issue, and maintain a good progress level. For that, we need a lot of things for assessing the research productivity. Publications is a very important thing. For publication, we will get immediately cumulative impact factor, citation index, and the like. Then books, how many books you have published, how many patents you got, then in how many conferences or seminars your research scholars presented the research findings, how many PhDs you have produced, how many projects, what is the total amount of money at hand from different agencies for your research. What are the consultancies you are offering? Then what are the meritorious achievements, laurels your faculty as well as scholars are getting? So there is in fact a scheme. I am unable to show that this measuring research productivity. There are many models are available. One of them is the ABC model. ABC model means there are few parameters. A stands for the number of publications in journals produced in a year. B stands for the number of books published in a year by the faculties. Then C is number of publications or case studies published in a year. Then another parameter is F, which is the number of full-time faculty members engaged in research, or total number of faculty members if you are interested. Then the research index per year can be calculated by the weighted average of all these parameters. If you say that the number of publications are very important, then you give a major weightage for that. Then if the number of books are very important, then the individual articles of publications, give a good weightage for that. The third one is the number of publications or case studies. If that is very important, relevant, then you just take the advantage of that. Give the major weightage for them. So add all these things divided by total number of faculty members. That in fact is an index. You fix that index. This scheme for a particular institution according to your choice, with agreement from all the faculty members, then you fix that as the index and measure the research productivity in each year based on the index. And if that index is going up, that means your research capability or research productivity is improving. If that index is going down, that shows that your research productivity is going down. So in that way, you can measure the research productivity. It's easy to measure the research productivity in that sense. See, we have the new education policy right now, announced by the Government of India. the new education policies, while reading the education policy, I think that some good points are there related to research. Because the government of India is setting up a national research foundation, like the Research Foundation of United States of America, NRF. Of course, the NRF is the major source of money for distributing to various agencies for conducting research. And it gives emphasis on research as a prominent position in universities as well as colleges. Sometimes it is going to bring back the old tradition. Encouraging research in existing universities as well as they are going to set up new research universities by the new education policy if it is practiced properly. Then the entry cost to research at career will be reduced. That means anybody can do research without spending much money. That sometimes that is, I don't know how can be possible. Then exposed to research at an early stage, that is a very important thing. If you have a real intention to do research, then you should orient your mind as well as your career in such a way that you will end up in a research institutions. That is very important. So the new education policy is hopeful in that sense. So I think I have given you some ideas related to improving research productivity or research quality in education institutions. Due to the system failure in my my end, I was in a embarrassing situation to address you. Of course, anyway, thank you for your patient listening. I think I have given you some tips, maybe good for improving your research qualities as well as research productivity of the institution. So once again, I thank the organizers, especially Joe Prasad, for inviting me to associate with you. I'm very happy indeed. At any time, I can come and join you at any platform. So for the timing, let me stop this discussion. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Joe Prasad, sir.
Okay. Questions in the chat.
There is one or more questions in the chat box.
Okay. Let me see.
One it is by Nidin John. Asking about the corporate involvement.
Corporate involvement. That is a very important
You
thing.
just read the
Because that government is promoting corporate involvement by asking them to finance research. So that I mentioned that if they do, of course, they will get some tax advantage of the income. So that is very important. But the corporates always look for result-oriented or benefit-oriented research. So what is the benefit if I am supporting a research? The industries, especially chemical industries as well as automobile industries, and many are there, so electronic industries, etc. They will support research provided if it is of any use for them. So we must convince them that this is useful for improving your productivity. My research sometimes is good for improving your productivity or improving your income. Definitely, they will support. So we must first of all convince our capabilities as well as our intention come to them so that they will support. So always government is encouraging corporate involvement in academics. Any other question?
One more is there. Can we write research papers from a PhD work?
Of course, research papers are related to the PhD work. Of course, after submitting your PhD, also if you are confident that that result is worthwhile for publication, you just write it. The university is not taking any copyright of that. That is the sole property of you, the scholar, the research. Anything else? I'm not.
I think there is a problem with the Jose Prasad, sir.
Prasad, your mic is not on. Eh?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay, now I would like to conclude with a vote of thanks. Want to appreciate the efforts taken by Dr. George Verghese for the effective presentation of this, and he was truly motivating us with telling that there is no barrier of age, time, and facility to do effective research. Thank you, sir. And he was telling us about to diversify the interest in the research areas and how to tackle the problem, how to take the advice from the mentors, and how we can tap the funds that is offered by the ministries, corporates, international organizations, and the importance of a collaboration also. He was emphasizing the importance of having a dynamic website which can give the information of our research, and the importance of creating a research index in the college. It was a nice organized talk, and we, on the behalf of SB College, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All of you can